First Contact Fury. The massive Zraniki mothership drifted silently at the edge of Earth's solar system, its crystalline hull absorbing and redirecting the distant sunlight. Fleet Commander Varric stood on the observation deck, his 4 eyes narrowed as he studied the blue-green world that appeared as little more than a bright speck from this distance. Another primitive world for the collection, he mused, running a 3-fingered hand over the smooth control panel. Sensors show rudimentary space capabilities, nuclear weapons, and primitive orbital structures. Standard procedure then, Exalted One, asked his second-in-command, Mezek. Varric flicked his upper eyelids in agreement. Indeed, send the assessment drones. If they detect anything unusual, we'll proceed with caution. Otherwise, we'll begin the standard subjugation protocol. The Zraniki had conquered 17 planetary systems in the last century alone. Their technological superiority was unmatched in this sector of the galaxy. The procedure was always the same: observe, infiltrate, demonstrate power, and then offer the natives a choice between servitude or extinction. Most chose the former. Earth would be no different, or so they thought. At NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Station, Dr. Elena Reyes stared at her screen in disbelief. The anomalous readings had appeared suddenly. A massive object that hadn't been there during yesterday's scan. Its size defied explanation. Director Harrington needs to see this immediately, she said, her voice steady despite the adrenaline rushing through her veins. And contact the Pentagon. This is definitely not one of ours. Within hours, every major government in the world had been notified. Emergency sessions were called. Military forces worldwide went on high alert. Unlike the science fiction scenarios humans had imagined for decades, there was no mass panic, no public announcement. The world's leaders decided that, until they understood what they were facing, information would remain classified. In an underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, the newly formed First Contact Response Team gathered. Military commanders, scientists, linguists, and diplomats all focused on a single question. What were humanity's options? General Maya Williams, a veteran of 3 wars and the head of the Joint Military Response, addressed the room. We've detected smaller craft detaching from the main vessel. They're approaching Earth in a dispersed pattern. Intentions unknown, but their formation suggests a reconnaissance mission. We should attempt communication first, argued Dr. Hamid Kazemi, the leading xenolinguist. If they've mastered interstellar travel, they must have sophisticated communication systems. And if they're hostile, General Williams countered. President Eliza Chen, who had been silently observing, finally spoke. We prepare for both. Attempt communication on all channels and frequencies, but I'm authorizing defensive preparations. If these visitors have hostile intentions, they'll learn that humanity doesn't surrender easily. The Zraniki drones entered Earth's atmosphere undetected, or so they believed. In reality, advanced radar systems at military installations across the globe tracked their descent. The drone's stealth technology was impressive, but not infallible against Earth's most sophisticated detection systems. One drone hovered over Beijing. Another above Washington, D.C. Others positioned themselves above Moscow, New Delhi, London, and other major cities. They began collecting data, analyzing military capabilities, infrastructure, and population centers. Aboard the mothership, Varric reviewed the incoming data with mild interest. Primitive propulsion systems, chemically powered weapons, basic satellite networks, nothing particularly. He stopped mid-sentence. What's this? The drone above the Pacific Ocean had detected something unusual, a massive underwater structure moving at high speed. The Zraniki had no concept of submarines. Their own water worlds were colonized with floating cities. The depths remained unexplored. Curious, Varric murmured. Focus scanning on this anomaly. The drone adjusted its position, hovering lower over the waves. Deep beneath the surface, the U.S. Leviathan, America's newest and most advanced nuclear submarine, detected the unknown object. Captain Sarah Lee made a quick decision. Locked targeting systems. Prepare countermeasures. The first shot of the interstellar war wasn't fired by an advanced alien weapon, but by a human-made missile launched from beneath the Pacific Ocean. The torpedo streaked through the water before angling upward, breaking the surface and transforming into an air-to-air missile that locked onto the hovering drone. On the Zranaki mothership, the alarm was immediate. Exalted One. The natives are attacking our reconnaissance drone. Varix's 4 eyes widened in shock. No pre-spacefaring civilization had ever detected, let alone attacked, a Zranaki stealth drone. Impossible. The missile struck its target with precision. The drone, designed for stealth rather than defense, exploded in a spectacular fireball above the Pacific. Silence fell over the Zranaki command center. They destroyed our drone. Mezek finally stated, his voice a mixture of disbelief and outrage. The primitives destroyed our technology. Varix's shock quickly hardened into resolve. It seems we've underestimated these humans. Signal the battle fleet. We'll skip the subjugation protocols and move directly to a display of force. As the remaining drones retreated to the mothership, Earth's leaders debated their next move. The destruction of the alien drone had been unplanned. Captain Lee had acted on her authority when the object began scanning the Leviathan's nuclear reactor. "We've shown our hand," General Williams said grimly. "If they're hostile, we've just given them cause to attack. And if they were peaceful, we've potentially started a war," Dr. Kazengni countered. President Chen rubbed her temples. "What's done is done. What matters now is our next move. What are our options if they return with hostile intent?" Admiral Jackson cleared his throat. "Madam President, Project Spearhead was designed for exactly this scenario." A murmur ran through the room. Project Spearhead had been a secret international effort, a contingency plan for extraterrestrial threats. 3 spacecraft, constructed in secret using the most advanced technology Earth could produce, waited in hidden orbital facilities. "The Spearhead vessels were never meant to be our first response," argued the Chinese ambassador. "They may be our only response," President Chen replied. "Alert the Spearhead crews. If our visitors return with force, we'll need to be ready." The Zranaki attack fleet emerged from the mothership like wasps from a disturbed nest. 12 battle cruisers, each nearly the size of Earth's largest aircraft carriers, arranged themselves in attack formation. Commander Varix addressed his battle commanders. "These humans have shown unexpected aggression and technological capability. We will approach with full battle readiness and demonstrate our superiority. Target their military installations first, then their governmental centers. Once they understand their hopeless position, they will surrender." The Zranaki fleet accelerated toward Earth, their engines glowing with exotic energy. They had conquered numerous worlds and faced no serious resistance in generations. This would be no different. But as they approached Earth orbit, something unexpected happened. 3 objects detached from what the Zranaki had dismissed as primitive orbital platforms. These objects accelerated toward the alien fleet at speeds that should have been impossible for human technology. "Exalted One, the natives have launched what appear to be warships." Mezek's voice carried his disbelief. Varix leaned forward, studying the approaching vessels. They were smaller than even the smallest Zranaki cruiser, but their design was sleek, predatory. Most concerning was their speed and maneuverability. Impossible. Their technology shouldn't allow for such vessels. "They're hailing us, Exalted One. Put it through." A human face appeared on the communication screen, a dark-skinned woman with determined eyes. "This is Commander Fatima Nkosi of the Earth Defense Vessel Artemis. You have entered Earth space with apparent hostile intent after your reconnaissance craft violated our sovereignty. Withdraw immediately, or we will defend ourselves." Varix's mandibles clicked in amusement. Their arrogance is remarkable. 3 tiny vessels against our battle fleet. Ignore them. Continue the approach. Aboard the EDV Artemis, Commander Nkosi received the response she had expected, none at all. The alien fleet continued its approach. All spearhead vessels. This is Artemis. Execute Operation Thunderbolt on my mark. The other two Earth vessels, Zeus and Apollo, acknowledged the command. Years of training for a scenario most had considered impossible were about to be put to the test. Mark. The three Earth vessels accelerated to attack speed. Their design concealed their true capabilities. While they appeared small and minimal, their hulls contained the most advanced weapon systems ever created by human hands. The international team of engineers who designed them had incorporated theoretical technology that had been deemed too aggressive or destabilizing for terrestrial conflicts. The Zranaki fleet responded with a barrage of energy weapons. Space lit up with blinding pulses of destructive force. But the Earth vessels demonstrated maneuverability that shocked the alien commanders. They weaved through the barrage, evading the majority of fire. Return fire, Commander Nkosi ordered. All kinetic batteries, maximum yield. The Artemis's main weapons were not energy-based but relied on advanced railgun technology that accelerated projectiles to a significant fraction of light speed. The first volley struck the lead Zranaki cruiser before their sensors could even register the attack. The kinetic impact tore through the alien vessel's shields and ruptured its hull. For the first time in centuries, a Zranaki warship had been damaged by an inferior species. Aboard the mothership, Fleet Commander Varix watched in stunned silence as the battle unfolded. One of his cruisers was already crippled, venting atmosphere and debris into space. The human vessels moved with precision that spoke of extensive combat training. Impossible, he muttered again, but with less conviction. Concentrate fire on the lead human vessel. Use the graviton cannon. The Zranaki fleet regrouped, focusing their most powerful weapons on the Artemis. The graviton cannon, capable of crushing the small moon, fired a concentrated beam of distorted spacetime. Commander Nkosi saw the weapon charging. Evasive maneuvers, deploy countermeasures. The Artemis banked sharply, but the graviton beam grazed its port side. The ship shuddered violently as artificial gravity failed in 3 sections. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut, containing the damage. Port stabilizers offline. Reactor containment holding, reported Lieutenant Chen. We can still fight. Nkosi's jaw tightened. Zeus, Apollo. Execute flanking pattern Delta. Target their weapon systems. The two Earth vessels split apart, accelerating to attack the Zranaki fleet from opposite directions. Their precision strikes targeted weapon emplacements and engine systems. The battle had been expected to last minutes against such superior technology. But as an hour passed, the humans had not only survived, but had managed to disable 2 more Zranaki vessels. On Earth, billions watched their first interstellar war through telescope feeds and satellite imagery. The 3 tiny defenders, humanity's secret guardians, fought with a ferocity that belied their size. In command centers worldwide, military leaders held their breath. The spearhead vessels were humanity's best defense, but they had other options preparing on the ground. If the aliens broke through, Earth would not fall easily. In orbit, the battle reached its climax when Commander Nkosi made a decision that would be studied in military academies for generations to come. All vessels implement Sunstorm Protocol. The 3 Earth ships suddenly shut down all non-essential systems, appearing to drift powerless. The Zranaki fleet, sensing victory, moved in for the kill. It was exactly what Nkosi had anticipated. As the alien vessels closed distance, the Earth ships reactivated simultaneously, their reactors cycling to maximum output. The burst of energy fed directly into their most classified weapon system, the NOVA array. 3 concentrated beams of superheated plasma erupted from the Earth vessels, cutting through space like solar flares. The Zranaki ships, now too close to evade, took direct hits. Their advanced shielding, designed to deflect conventional weapons, provided little protection against the raw power being unleashed. 4 more Zranaki vessels were disabled or destroyed in the assault. The others began to retreat, their formation broken. Fleet Commander Varix gripped his command console, his exoskeleton pale with rage and disbelief. Half his battle fleet was damaged or destroyed. The rest were retreating. Against primitives. Order all vessels to regroup at the mothership, he commanded. We must reassess. As the battered Zraniki fleet retreated, the equally damaged Earth vessels maintained position at the edge of orbit. They had won the first battle, but everyone aboard knew the war had just begun. Commander Nkosi opened a channel to Earth. Artemis to command. Hostile forces retreating. We've bloodied their nose, but they'll be back. She paused, looking at the distant alien mothership on her view screen. And next time, they'll know what they're up against. In the depths of space, the Zraniki mothership hovered, its commander staring at the blue planet with new respect and growing dread. These humans were unlike any species they had encountered. They had done the impossible. They had fought the Zraniki to a standstill. Fleet Commander Varix made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. Send a message to the High Council. The subjugation of Earth must be reconsidered. These humans. He paused, his four eyes fixed on the distant planet. These humans are dangerous. The first battle was over. Humanity had survived. But the stars had become a battlefield, and Earth's trial by fire had only just begun. Stars of vengeance. 3 months after the first battle, Earth had transformed. The existence of the alien threat was now public knowledge, uniting humanity in ways previously thought impossible. Ancient conflicts were set aside as nations pooled resources and knowledge for the coming storm. The wreckage of 2 downed Zraniki vessels had been recovered from the Pacific and Siberian wilderness, providing invaluable insight into alien technology. In research facilities worldwide, scientists worked tirelessly to understand and adapt these new technologies. Commander Fatima Nkosi, now promoted to admiral, stood in the newly constructed Global Defense Command beneath Geneva. Around her, representatives from every major nation monitored the space beyond Earth's orbit, where the Zraniki mothership still lurked. They're watching us, Admiral Nkosi observed, learning, just as we're learning about them. General Williams nodded. And preparing. Our long-range sensors detect increased activity around their mothership. They're building something. President Chen, who had been unanimously chosen to lead the United Earth Defense Council, stepped forward. What's the status of the spearhead vessels? Artemis and Zeus are fully repaired and upgraded with reverse-engineered Zraniki technology, Admiral Nkosi reported. Apollo was too damaged, but we've salvaged what we could. The new vessels, Athena, Horus, and Shiva, will be operational within 2 weeks. And Project Excalibur. Admiral Nkosi's expression remained neutral, but her eyes flashed with fierce determination. Ready for your final authorization, Madam President. President Chen surveyed the room, meeting the eyes of each nation's representative. We all agree then. We don't wait for them to attack again. One by one, they nodded. Humanity had decided its course. Authorize Project Excalibur, President Chen commanded. It's time we take the fight to them. Aboard the Zraniki mothership, Fleet Commander Varix had been demoted. The High Council had sent War Master Drazek to oversee the subjugation of Earth, a task they now approached with extreme caution. Their technological adaptation is unprecedented. Drazek growled, reviewing the latest intelligence. In 3 of their months, they've begun incorporating our technology into their defense systems. Varix, now serving as strategic advisor, nodded. I warned the Council. These humans are unlike other species we've encountered. They don't fear the unknown. They master it. Drazek's upper eyes narrowed in contempt. Your failure has cost us greatly, Varix. Had you struck decisively from the beginning, this world would already be ours. With respect, War Master, underestimating humans is what led to our initial defeat. Varix stopped as an alarm blared through the command center. Multiple objects accelerating from Earth's orbit, reported the sensor officer. 8 vessels. And something else, a larger object following behind them. Drazek straightened, his ceremonial armor glinting under the harsh lights. So they think to challenge us again. Prepare the battle fleet. All vessels, full combat readiness. Varric studied the sensor readings with growing concern. Warmaster, these vessels are moving faster than before. Their energy signatures are different. Different how? Varric's four eyes widened in shock. They're using Zraniki propulsion technology. Admiral Nkosi stood on the bridge of the Artemis, now nearly twice its original size after the integration of salvaged alien technology. Around her, a crew representing 12 nations worked with practiced efficiency. All vessels report ready, Admiral, her XO announced. Formation is holding. Excalibur is maintaining position behind the vanguard. Nkosi nodded, her gaze fixed on the tactical display. The Earth fleet, 6 warships and 2 carrier vessels, advanced toward the Zraniki mothership in perfect formation. Behind them, the massive form of the Excalibur moved like a predator in the shadows. Open a channel to all Earth vessels, she ordered. When the communication officer nodded, she continued. This is Admiral Nkosi. 3 months ago, we fought to defend our home. Today, we fight to secure our future. The Zraniki came to our system believing us primitive and weak. They will leave knowing humanity's strength. Cheers erupted across the fleet's communication channels. Combat stations. Weapons hot. Execute Operation Vengeance. The Earth fleet accelerated to attack speed. The Zraniki had expected improved human vessels, but nothing prepared them for what happened next. The Earth ships suddenly split into complex attack patterns, moving with speed and coordination that matched the Zraniki's own elite squadrons. From the carriers, smaller craft emerged, space fighters piloted by Earth's best combat pilots. These fighters, incorporating both human and Zraniki technology, swarmed toward the alien fleet in waves. Warmaster Drazek watched the approaching human fleet with growing unease. Deploy the battle groups. Intercept formation. The Zraniki fleet, now reinforced with 20 battlecruisers, moved to engage. They had studied the previous battle extensively and prepared countermeasures for the humans' kinetic weapons and plasma attacks. But the humans had anticipated this. As the Zraniki fleet arranged itself in defense formation, Admiral Nkosi gave her next order. Artemis to all vessels. Initiate Phase 2. The human fleet suddenly vanished from Zraniki sensors. Their advanced stealth systems, enhanced with reverse-engineered Zraniki technology, rendered them effectively invisible. Panic spread through the Zraniki command center. Where are they? Drazek demanded. Find them. Varric, however, understood immediately. They've adapted our cloaking technology, but improved it somehow. The first barrage came from seemingly empty space. Hypersonic kinetic projectiles and energy weapons struck the Zraniki fleet from multiple directions simultaneously. Before they could reorganize, the human fighters swarmed through their formation, targeting propulsion systems and weapons arrays with surgical precision. Earth's fighter pilots had trained intensively in simulators designed from the wreckage data. Major Diana Rodriguez led Phantom Squadron in a tight formation around a Zraniki destroyer, her fighter weaving through energy blasts with impossible agility. Phantoms, target their starboard weapon clusters on my mark, she commanded, her fighter systems highlighting the vulnerable points on the alien vessel. 3, 2, 1, mark. 12 fighters fired simultaneously, their specialized weapons piercing the destroyer's shields at precisely calculated points. The Zraniki vessel's starboard weapons erupted in a cascade of explosions. Throughout the battlefield, similar scenes played out as Earth's forces demonstrated not just courage but unprecedented tactical coordination. The Zraniki, accustomed to overwhelming technological superiority, found themselves outmaneuvered by a species they had dismissed as primitive just months earlier. In the Zraniki command center, Warmaster Drazek's rage had turned to disbelief. Impossible. They cannot have mastered our technology so quickly. Varric, watching the battle unfold, spoke quietly. It's not just our technology, Warmaster. It's their adaptability, their creativity. He pointed to the tactical display. Look at how they fight. Not as individuals, but as a perfectly coordinated unit. Each vessel supporting the others, covering weaknesses, enhancing strengths. Silence. Drazak roared. Deploy the Worldbreaker. End this now. From the core of the mothership, an enormous weapon emerged, a planet-killing device the Zraniki had used to subjugate rebellious worlds. It began to charge, drawing energy from the mothership's main reactors. Varrix's blood ran cold. Warmaster, the use of the Worldbreaker violates the ancient covenant. Not even during the Schism Wars did we. I said silence. Drazak turned to his weapons officer. Target their planet. Let's see how brave these humans are when their homeworld hangs in the balance. Admiral Nkosi received the urgent alert from Earth's sensors. Unknown weapon deploying from the mothership. Energy readings are off the scale. She understood immediately. This was the moment they had prepared for. The reason Project Excalibur existed. All vessels, clear the engagement zone, she ordered. Excalibur, you have primary. Execute endgame protocol. The massive Earth vessel that had remained in the background now moved forward, its true purpose about to be revealed. Project Excalibur wasn't just a warship. It was humanity's ultimate weapon and greatest gamble. For months, scientists had worked to understand the fundamental principles behind Zraniki technology. They discovered something revolutionary. The aliens manipulated space-time in ways humans had only theorized. Using this knowledge, Project Excalibur had been equipped with a device that could generate a localized, controllable space-time anomaly. As the Zraniki Worldbreaker charged to full power, the Excalibur moved into position. Its revolutionary drive system activated, creating a controlled space-time distortion directly between the Worldbreaker and Earth. In the Zraniki Command Center, alarms blared. Warmaster, the humans have deployed some kind of space-time distortion field. Drazak stared at the readings. Impossible. That technology is beyond even the ascended races. Varrix studied the data, understanding dawning on his features. They've created a quantum mirror. If we fire the Worldbreaker, the implications hit Drazak too late. The Worldbreaker discharged its planet-killing beam directly into the Excalibur's distortion field. The energy struck the quantum mirror and reflected, not toward Earth, but back at the Zraniki mothership. The effect was catastrophic. The Worldbreaker's energy, designed to crack planetary crusts, rebounded into the mothership's command section. Explosions rippled across the massive vessel as systems overloaded and failed. Admiral Nkosi watched as the Zraniki mothership listed to one side, secondary explosions cascading across its surface. The Earth fleet regrouped, fighters returning to their carriers. Status of the Excalibur, she demanded. The quantum mirror held, Admiral, but their power systems are critical. They're evacuating non-essential personnel. Nkosi nodded grimly. They had known the risks. The technology was experimental, pushed into service before it was fully understood because humanity had no choice. All vessels, maintain position. Prepare boarding teams. She turned to her communications officer. Open a channel to the Zraniki mothership. In the ruins of the Zraniki Command Center, Warmaster Drazak lay dead beneath a collapsed support beam. Fleet Commander Varrix, injured but alive, pulled himself to the communication console as it signaled an incoming transmission. Admiral Nkosi's face appeared on the fractured screen. This is Admiral Fatima Nkosi of the United Earth Defense Force. Your weapon has been neutralized, your fleet disabled. Surrender now, and we will spare the lives of your remaining forces. Varrix stared at the human admiral's face, seeing not savagery but conviction, not bloodlust but determination. In 3 months, these primitives had not only defended against Zraniki technology, but mastered and improved it. What would they accomplish in a year? In a decade? This is Fleet Commander Varrix, he replied, tasting blood in his mouth. I am now the ranking officer. I accept your terms of surrender. 1 month later, in the newly constructed Hall of Unity in Geneva, representatives from Earth met with a delegation from the Zraniki High Council. The surrender of their fleet had sent shockwaves through the galaxy. For the first time in millennia, the Zraniki Empire had been defeated. Fleet Commander Varix, now appointed as diplomatic liaison, approached the human delegation. Admiral Nkosi and President Chen watched him carefully. "My council has authorized me to negotiate a peace treaty," Varix began, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into human language. "They also wish to express curiosity." "Curiosity?" President Chen asked. "Yes. In all our history, no species has adapted so quickly, fought so effectively with such limited resources." Varix's four eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture of respect. "The High Council wishes to understand how humans achieved in months what takes other species generations." Admiral Nkosi exchanged glances with President Chen before responding. "We faced extinction, Commander Varix. Humanity has always performed its best when our backs are against the wall. It's who we are." The negotiations continued for weeks, eventually resulting in the Sol-Zranaki Treaty. The terms were straightforward. Earth would retain its independence, and in exchange, would share its unique scientific and cultural perspectives with the Zranaki. A new era of cautious cooperation began. 5 years later, Admiral Nkosi stood on the observation deck of the New Earth Embassy on Zranaki Prime. Beside her, Fleet Commander Varix, now Ambassador Varix, watched as the first joint human-Zranaki exploration vessel prepared to depart for uncharted space. "The Harmony carries the best of both our civilizations," Varix remarked. "Your creativity and adaptability, our experience and technology." Admiral Nkosi nodded. "And more importantly, the lesson we both learned, which is..." She turned to face the former enemy who had become, if not a friend, then a respected colleague. "That strength isn't measured by technological advancement alone, but by the will to survive, to adapt, and ultimately to coexist." Varix's mandibles clicked in what Nkosi had learned was thoughtful agreement. The High Council still struggles with this concept. For millennia, we believed technological superiority was the only measure of a civilization's worth. And now we watch the stars with new awareness. If humans could challenge us, who else might we have underestimated? As they spoke, the Harmony engaged its engines, a perfect fusion of human and Zranaki engineering, and accelerated toward distant stars. Its mission wasn't conquest or subjugation, but exploration and understanding. Earth had not only survived its trial by fire, but had transformed the galaxy in the process. Humanity's warships had indeed taken to the stars, but their greatest victory wasn't won through destruction, but through the very quality that had saved them: the ability to adapt, overcome, and forge a new path forward. The Zranaki had come seeking the conquest. They found instead a partner, and perhaps more importantly, a lesson about the true nature of strength in the vast, complex tapestry of galactic civilization. As Admiral Nkosi watched the Harmony disappear into the darkness of space, she thought about how close humanity had come to extinction. Yet here they stood, not just survivors but pioneers, shaping the future of interstellar relations. Earth's warships had taken the stars not as conquerors, but as guardians of a new understanding, that the greatest power in the universe wasn't technology, but the indomitable human spirit that drove it forward. In the endless night of space, a new day had dawned, and the stars would never be the same again.